Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Pioneer Weekly Recap and Preview Show. I'm Brian Staten. As we take a look to see what happened in Pioneer Athletics last week, we'll start all the way back on Tuesday where the Tusculum volleyball team entertained King in a thrilling game as well for Tusculum. They get some revenge from earlier in the year as they win 3-0. On Friday, the women's soccer and men's soccer teams traveled across the mountain to the Mountain Border War, and in the women's game, Mars Hill scores in the final seconds, and they upset Tusculum 3-2. As far as the men are concerned, they get a 2-0 win in that contest. Vujicic has scored now in 6 consecutive games, and the Pioneers also with a 2-0 victory secure a South Atlantic Conference playoff berth. Also on Friday, women's volleyball falls in a 5-set thriller to Lincoln Memorial, 3-2. On Saturday, the Tusculum football team knocked off Catawba 32-14, and women's volleyball falls to Carson Newman 3-1 from Pioneer Arena. So let's find out what's taking place this week. And it begins on Wednesday, and that rival is back in town at Pioneer Field as Tusculum and Carson Newman will battle on the soccer field. The Tusculum women need a win to get into the South Atlantic Conference tournament. The Pioneer men need a victory in order to secure a home berth in the South Atlantic Conference tournament as well, already securing at least a berth into the tournament. The women will kick off at 5. The men will celebrate senior night, and kickoff will be at 7:30 as the men's soccer team celebrates their senior night midweek Wednesday against the Carson Newman Eagles. This coming Friday, women's bowling is back in action as they will travel to Madison, Wisconsin to participate in the Warhawk Classic. Men's and women's basketball also open the season. We'll have a little bit more about basketball coming up. The women are participating in the Conference Carolinas South Atlantic Conference Challenge, and that will be from King University in Bristol, Tennessee. The men will travel to Harrogate, Tennessee, hosted by Lincoln Memorial. It is the South Atlantic Conference Peach Belt Challenge, and the men will take on USC Aiken. By the way, the women play Belmont Abbey. Both of the men's and women's games will tip off at 5:30. Women's volleyball will take on Coker in Hartsville, South Carolina at 7 o'clock. Moving to Saturday, women's bowling continue their day at Madison, Wisconsin. Cross country will be at the NCAA Division II Southeast Region Championships from Wingate, North Carolina. Women's volleyball will be at Wingate as well at 2 o'clock. Women's basketball, men's basketball back in action. Women's basketball takes on King from Bristol. Men's basketball against Clayton State from LMU and Harrogate, Tennessee. Men's soccer and women's soccer hope to be in the South Atlantic Conference quarterfinal. The men will be in the South Atlantic Conference quarterfinal, and hopefully they will be at home. And the football team will entertain Mars Hill for Senior Day as well. It's also Military and First Responders Appreciation Day, and that will be Saturday. All of those first responders, military personnel can have an ID, will be admitted into the game absolutely free, and 28 seniors will also be walking before the contest for Pioneer coach Jerry Odom in his 4th year. A lot of these guys very meaningful to him. They'll take on Mars Hill, and kickoff will be at 1:30 this coming Saturday. Then on Sunday, the women's bowling team will wrap up their day at the Warhawk Classic from Madison, Wisconsin. And speaking of bowling, congratulations to Racine Mortensen. She was the ECC Rookie Bowler of the Week for accolades 2 weeks ago in Louisiana. To the basketball scene, the Tusculum men and women, again, opening up the conference play this coming weekend as the women's team has opened up a preseason number 4 in the South Atlantic Conference. Mia Long was tabbed as a first-team all-conference selection. Meanwhile, on the men's side of things, the Tusculum Pioneers were opening up as a preseason number 6 team in the South Atlantic Conference, finishing 4th last year, and Trent Gibson earning second-team all-conference accolades last year as a freshman, the freshman of the year in the South Atlantic Conference. Trent Gibson opening up second-team all-conference. Some future events coming up November 15th. It will be Alumni Night for volleyball, as volleyball will be hosting Anderson November 15th. That will be an alumni night, trying to get as many people as they can back to pack the arena for that festivity as well. Visit TusculumPioneers.com for more details. It's time for our Zaxby's Athletes of the Week. And our Zaxby's Athletes of the Week, a redshirt freshman from Avon Park, Florida, is Thurlow Wilkins, and a middle blocker on the volleyball team is Tatum Thornton. As for Wilkins, a season-best 153 yards in Tusculum's victory against Catawba this past week. It's his second straight 100-yard game. He did have one touchdown, a 63-yard jaunt to give the Pioneers a 19-7 lead at the time. He also had 58 kickoff return yardage to give him 211 total all-purpose yards in the game. Wilkins has rushed for 305 yards this season, and the bulk of that have come in just the last 2 games. 44 carries, 6.9 yards per attempt. He leads the league in kickoff average at 32.9 per attempt. Meanwhile, for Tatum Thornton, a senior from Texas, averaged 2.08 kills and posted a 41% hitting percentage in the Pioneers' 3 outings last week. She opened the week with 6 kills and 4 blocks in Tusculum sweep against King. In that contest, she hit .364. She also posted a career-best 13 kills in a 5-set marathon loss to LMU, and she hit .476 in the match and tallied 5 blocks as well. She finished the week with 25 total kills, 10 blocks, 30.5 points as Tusculum at 1-2 to move their record to 12-12. Congratulations to Thurlow, Wilkins, and Tatum Thornton, our Zaxby's Athletes of the Week. We also have the end of the month, the start of November, our Applebee's Student Athletes of the Month. Congratulations to Tusculum linebacker Jackson Coffin from football and cross-country runner Nicole McMillan. Coffin, the sophomore from Murfreesboro, led Tusculum with 31 tackles during the month, including 7 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He returned an interception at 31 yards for a touchdown. He also, this past Saturday, which was technically in the month of November, had a sack for a safety for 2 more points. He opened the month with 10 tackles and 2 behind the line against Wingate, followed with the season-best 13 against LR. And in that game, he also had 2 tackles for loss and a sack and forcing a fumble against a team that had not had a sack all season long. This year, Cawthon leads the Pioneers with 60 tackles, 13 for loss, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions as well. Meanwhile, for Nicole McMillan, she's won all 3 races in which the Pioneers competed during October, including the conference championship in Wingate, October 26th. She won the conference women's championship by a margin of more than 25 seconds to become the Pioneers' first conference champ since Amanda Music back in 2003, and was the conference runner of the year. Earlier this year, she set course records at the Bobcat Cross Country Invitational at Georgia College by more than a minute and a half on October 12th. She took first place in the Blue Division 5-kilometer race at the Live and Lou Classic in Louisville, Kentucky. October 5th in that race, she was also first among 531 runners. This year, McMillan has 4 wins, a runner-up in 5 events, giving her 7 top 5 finishes and 8 career races as well. Her 4 single-season wins are second to Amanda Music's 5 victories during the 2003 season, and McMillan's 4 career wins tied for second with April Jennison to the 10 career victories by Music from 2001 to 2004. Jackson Cawthon, Nicole McMillan, our Applebee's Student Athletes of the Month. Until next week with more of the Pioneer Weekly Recap and Preview Show, I'm Brian Staten. Go Pioneers!